What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday, and welcome to the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. We got a great, exciting show lined up, but let's see how we did yesterday on the recap screen. Oh, wow. Okay. Not many X's here. We're 5-1. The hockey play comes in from SportsLine. Tom Casale delivers yet again. Martin Green, 2-0. Mackenzie Brooks, 1 for 2. Go James Madison University. They covered as well. A lot of SportsLine experts were on JMU -7. You love to see it. I know Buckets loves to see JMU as well. Let's bring in Buckets and the stars of the show. It's Buckets. It's Larry Hartstein. And it's our good friend. It's hammer time. It's Tim Doyle. Tim, we start with you. You're clearly going to the club, perhaps without the hammer after the show. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. And you know, the best part of my day happened when you reach towards the microphone. The gun show is real. I don't know if you know this about, our good lawyer there. I mean, wow. I gotta look at those things.
I don't know. It's a little soft right now. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know what's hotter, our picks from yesterday or those arms. Jeez.
You love to hear it. Thanks for the compliment. I'm always fishing for them. When I get them without fishing, I always appreciate that. Buckets, how you doing today? You and Tim are properly dressed to go to the club. Are you guys heading out together later? What's going on?
Yeah, see, it feels like a Night at the Roxbury kind of night. That's a movie for those that don't understand that. But, Sia, I just want to point out that Martin didn't only go, let me stretch real quick, didn't go 2-0. Oh, wow. But he also hit both of his leans as well. So that was pretty impressive out of Martin. Really a 4-0 day if you think about it.
That was
Larry.
impressive on Larry. I mean, I hate to say it. It's kind of your turn now. You don't have to flex. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I did go to the gym last night, but I'm not going to flex for everyone here. But I am excited about today because we've got Tim Doyle on. It's one of the biggest NBA days we've ever had. 13 games after they took the NBA Cup break. And in the SportsLine Discord today, not only will the counselor yourself be on at 8:30 during the football game doing live betting, but this is a first at 4 p.m. today. Prop Bet Guy, our new expert who's been really great in NBA, will be taking your questions at 4 o'clock in the SportsLine Discord. And I just heard there may be a special guest showing up for his live chat.
Oh, my. That is, I don't even know who that is. So that is going to be really exciting. So just real quick before Buckets, we get into your soccer picks. I think people really need to appreciate the sort of the gravity pull that SportsLine is offering now, because again, you get the picks like you always used to. You get the articles, the UCL articles or the Champions League articles that Buckets and Martin Green and others put out there. You're getting the simulations, you're getting Mike McClure's DFS plays, but this Discord with this huge NBA slate, just being able to get in there and ask questions to really anybody who's covering the NBA. It's a really important piece of the SportsLine universe. Again, if you want to join, if you're not for some reason already joined, sportsline.com/join. You type in the promo code winners, you get 60% off the annual plan. Again, sportsline.com/join. All right, let's get to some picks. Buckets, we're going to start with you. What's going on with soccer?
So we've got some weird matches today. We've got a lot of cup matches, which can be tricky to bet unless you find your consistent teams. I'm looking at the Coppa Italia between Inter Milan taking on Udinese. And last season, Udinese were incredible at playing for 0-0 draws. They parked the bus, they played piss-poor soccer, and frustrated everyone. But this year, they're not doing that anymore because they're playing even worse. They are getting run over right now and have zero defense. Meanwhile, Inter Milan, even if they rotate their squad, have the best attack currently in all of Italy with 40 goals scored in just 15 matches. I'm taking Inter Milan over 2.5 team total, priced at plus 125. So a good number. And considering they just scored 6 against Lazio, who's one of the better defenses in Italy, this is a game that could see 4 or 5 goals once again from Inter Milan. Then we also have the Conference Cup going on where we've got a ton of teams from all over Europe playing that nobody's ever heard of. So again, very tricky to find value, but I got your back here. We're looking at Belgian side, Circle Brugge taking on Turkish side, Istanbul, Başakşehir, and we're taking over 2.5 goals here at minus 135. A little bit of juice, but not really considering both of these teams have so much to play for. Both teams need a win for different reasons. Both teams have terrible defense, and both teams have been prioritizing attack over everything, not only in this cup, but in league play as well. Over 2.5 at minus 135, and if over 3.5 hits at plus 180, I would not be surprised as well.
You know, Buckets, you're probably going to be doing the pronunciations on the recap screen. So go ahead.
And I just got to confess, I have no idea what Night at the Roxbury is. I heard Sia say it right before the show started.
I was
get that out there.
I was going to put that out there because I think people would have been very confused.
Do this, Buckets. Just put your head to the side. There you go.
There we go. All right. So some people get that reference. Some people have no idea what we're doing. Beauty of small time inside-ish type jokes. All right. Let's go to football. Buckets, you're really getting into it. Absolutely love to see it. I'm going to – so I put the Gus Edwards play out yesterday. His longest rush under 10.5 yards. I'm going with the Chargers first quarter money line here. If you remember SportsLine, you noted if you saw this pick, and this is the first time I've done this. I actually did a half a unit on this. I'm not telling you how to bet it. You can put a full unit if you want. For me, in terms of what I'm giving out, this is the first time I'm suggesting a half unit because I do think these first quarter bets, especially when you're picking a side, are a little finicky. And with that said, both the Chargers and the Broncos have been kind of bad lately. Chargers really lack talent, but I've also seen the Chargers really collapse in second half. So if you like Denver -2.5, or if you got Denver -3 or whatever the case may be, I don't hate that bet. I kind of think the Chargers are going to win. I'm not willing to put my money on it. But I do think, given the state of Bo Nix and how bad he's been, I mean, honestly, he's been pretty bad over the last 3-4 weeks. Completion percentage has been down. He's just not hitting passes like he used to. Doesn't look super comfortable in the pocket. I think we're going to see a very conservative game plan from Denver early with their non-existent running game. I think we're going to see a couple of punts from Denver early. Justin Herbert, on the other hand, I do think he's going to pass the ball a little bit in the first quarter. I think at home, they're going to be a lot more comfortable. This is a team that typically, when they're doing well early in games, and then they kind of fade away. So I'm going to take the Chargers first quarter money line behind the veteran quarterback, Justin Herbert, and this offense and these receivers with the healthy Ladd McConkey, Stone Smart stepping in for Will Dissly. Denzel Perryman back for the Chargers. I do think that's going to help early in this game as well. And for the record, Chargers have a couple of defensive backs that are injured. That's going to hurt them, obviously. But again, I don't think Bo Nix is going to test them early. I think the running game is going to be tested early. So I'm going with Chargers first quarter money line. And speaking of football betting, I told you BetMGM is going to have these 7 days of parlays promotions. Well, pro football, NFL, it's up next. BetMGM's 7 days of parlays continues today. BetMGM account holders will receive a pro football same-game parlay boost token. Score a bigger payout if your wager with the SGP boost token hits. Check that out. Really good promotions over there at BetMGM. All right, we've kept Tim silent way too long. He's got an NBA play. He's got an NBA future. Of course, SportsLine has a ton of NBA plays throughout the day. We're going to get to all of that right after this message from our partners.
Baby, we are gonna start a fire.
From world-renowned clubs
Simply devastating.
to worldwide stars,
Wrexham have done it. This incredible ride continues.
the English Football League on CBS Sports Network, and stream every match live on Paramount+.
All right, we're back on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM. Tim, you always bring a smile to people's faces, especially mine. Doesn't matter what you say, I'm smiling. So give us a pick. Hopefully it's a winner. And you've got an NBA future as well, which I love, by the way.
Yeah, I let's go into tonight, and was looking up and down the board. And over the course of 82 games, I'm always looking for motivation, lack thereof, long road trip. And I'm going to go to Houston, where if you watch me, you watch my content, I don't love laying points in the NBA. But this number with the Houston Rockets is so interesting to me. I got in at 8.5. So that basically means they got to win by 10 or more. 9 also is a winner. It just makes me angry when I'm up 11 and a guy comes down, hits a 3 at the buzzer. I think they can win this game by 25. Houston's going up against the New Orleans Pelicans. I like to put myself in locker rooms. Yes, I was an honorable mention All Big Ten basketball player. But the Pelicans recently announced everybody's for sale. Oh, by the way, nobody's playing tonight. No Brandon Ingram, no Zion Williamson. And then your ownership comes out and goes, yeah, we're selling off. How do you think the morale is in that locker room? I bet you it's awful. And then your best players aren't playing. As for Houston, they made it to the semifinals of the NBA Cup. I called their game recently against the Golden State Warriors alongside of Vince Carter and Dennis Scott. And we said this team is for real, especially defensively. They held the Warriors under 95 points in the NBA Cup. They guard. Houston needs to make a move. And I'm not going to name names who they need to pick up. Jimmy Butler. If they get Jimmy Butler, oh boy, because they do not have a guy down the stretch that can get you a bucket. They're still kind of figuring out because Şagun's 22, Jalen Green's 22. Fred VanVleet is not a go-to guy down the stretch. He's an excellent complementary player, but they lock up defensively. I think they can win this game by 35. So I'm going to be the hammer is out here, hammer the Rockets. If you just want a winner, like I had a buddy, Sia, that when we went out, he would always talk to, excuse me, that's my
Is
buddy.
that him calling right now?
It is. He would always talk to the ugliest person at the bar. And I would always be like, why are you doing this? And he goes, it gets the tongue loose. Like, you got to shoot like a layup before you shoot a three. So if you just want an absolute layup, the Rockets are not losing this game, just throw it in a parlay just so you feel good about yourself, because that's a locked winner, because you can't play the price there. As far as my future, lock it in now. The best team by far in the NBA, Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I'm a racetrack guy. Larry, you know this, okay? Once in a while when you go to the track and you see a horse throwing a clunker, you get the pen out and you just draw a line through that race. 5 of 32 from 3. That's what OKC was. Think about if they were 10 of 32, which is still not a good percentage. They would have beaten the Bucks. They played absolutely terrible. So now's the time to jump in, because they get back Chet Holmgren. They have Sia Hartstein since he's been back. They've been 9-1. Their big guys are better than Boston's big guys, and they have wings that can defend. Jalen Williams' wingspan is 7'2". He's going to give Tatum and Brown some really OKC, you're getting close to 4-1 right now. Lock it in now. See ya. It's good to be back. You know, this show becomes complete if I get a Larry flex. I'll take a Larry flex even with the shirt on. We do not need the shirt on, Larry. If I get a flex, this show's a win.
Well, I don't know that we're getting where he's flexing his smile. So, I mean, I don't know if that counts. Sia Nejad, there you go. Okay. See, I knew Tim.
Yeah,
there we go.
Larry,
There we go.
Larry.
Hey, Maestro, we don't even have to get to your picks. The show's over at this point. Speaking of picks, I do want to acknowledge Brad Morris in the chat. He's got some NHL picks. You know, sometimes I miss these. You guys are so active in the chat that sometimes I miss these, but I did want to acknowledge Brad Morris has some good hockey picks in the chat. Big Cheesy, under 41.5 is what he likes, I believe, in this NFL game. Love to see that. Speaking of this NFL game, Larry, we like Javonte Williams, but not in the rushing department.
Yeah, he's been so inefficient as a runner. It's almost comical to look at his numbers, something like 14 yards on 16 of his last carries. But the key news is that Jaleel McLaughlin, who had taken over the starting role in that Browns game, is not going to play tonight. So that leaves you with Javonte Williams and the rookie, Audric Estime, who is not a pass protector. He has 4 targets all season. Javonte Williams has 40 catches this season, and the Chargers give up the 3rd most targets to opposing running backs. They also play zone coverage at the 2nd highest rate. So I can see Bo Nix dropping back, looking at that zone, dumping it off to Javonte Williams to get us over 13.5 receiving yards. I mean, that's the one thing that he's still able to do because, like you said, his rushing efficiency, or like we talked about, his rushing efficiency has been terrible. I think they're going to give him a chance tonight because they need to without Jaleel McLaughlin. But I love his receiving yards over 13.5.
Speaking of overs, Larry, I do want to ask you something that I was looking at for a pick actually for this show. I don't think I'm going to make it an official pick. It might be more of a live look if the Chargers can take an early lead. I don't see the Denver Broncos being able to run the ball at all. I mean, you could say the same about the Chargers, but as much as Bo Nix has been inefficient lately, I do like him, especially with the back end banged up for the Chargers. I do like them, especially if they go down early, for him to just pass, because I don't know that they really have a choice. I mean, Javonte Williams might catch some of those passes, but we know they've got Cortland Sutton and a bunch of wide receiver threes on this roster. What are your thoughts? The line is 222.5, I think, for give or take for Bo Nix. But any thoughts on maybe a live play on Bo Nix passing yards if they go down early?
Yeah, if they go down early. This is such a tough game to handicap because neither team really is in good form at all. I mean, the Chargers are starting to crumble. The Broncos have some of the most fraudulent covers in the history of the NFL over the past, several games. This ATS cover streak built on turnovers, freak plays, Jameis throwing a pick at the 1, Jonathan Taylor dropping the ball before he goes to the end zone. So they haven't been great either, especially against winning teams. They've been 1-5 against the number. So he could be throwing a lot. I don't know. It's a tough one for me. Stay away.
Yeah, both these teams, I think we're looking at teams that are very average, that we thought might be well above average, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. Tim, Joe Neuenfeld says, I can't believe Tim didn't mention where he played in college. Oh, he most certainly did. Didn't you? Oh, no. You said you were first team. What was it?
I was all Big Ten, Sia. But Larry knows this because he always throws it in my face. It was honorable mention. Okay, I got screwed off of second or third team that year because we were awful. My son was just looking at my stats yesterday. We went to a Division II game in Illinois because I just needed to get out of the house. And he goes, "Wow, Dad." He goes, "You were second in the Big Ten in assist to Mike Conley, who's still playing in the." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Wow, you were second in the Big Ten in steals to Mike Conley." And I said, I know. I go, "I hate his guts." And he goes, "You hate Mike Conley's guts?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "He's made nearly $300 million, Buckets. Last year, I made 62.5. I drive a minivan. When did my life go wrong?" So I'm just jealous of Mike Conley. I really don't hate him. It's just that my life has been totally unfulfilled since college. Thank you, Sia, for this therapy session.
Tim, speaking of your son, does he back the OKC to win the finals play? And does he have an Eastern Conference representative? And Buckets, I do want to come to you to see if there's soccer questions in the chat, but Tim, you first.
He's got the Boston. I think Boston's head and shoulders above everybody in the East. I think Cleveland, Orlando, the Knicks need help. I think they can give Boston a really good series. As far as who he has winning it, he has the Grizzlies winning it. So big Ja Morant fan. And if you look at the Grizzlies right now, lead the NBA in bench scoring, and they do the best bench. Aldama comes off the bench. Marcus Smart comes off the bench. They're going to be one of those teams that are going to give Dallas a really hard time. OKC is going to have a gauntlet to get through the West. There's better teams out West. There's more parity. But I just think when they get Chet back with Hartenstein, in my eyes, they're by far the best.
Yeah, totally agree on that. Buckets, any soccer questions we need to address before we hit the recap screen?
Two things I want to talk about. If we're talking about former glory, Tim, I want to remind everyone that I was a state champion in the state of Tennessee for javelin my senior year of high school. Really? So just want to throw that out there for everyone. Big state.
I didn't know that.
No, I used to be a heck of an athlete back when I could stand up without moaning and being in pain. But besides that, I do want to talk about the Chelsea game real quick here. If you're looking at that, I don't want to do anything crazy. Chelsea's probably going to play their under 12 squad, a lot of their middle school players, and they'll still win that game by 5 or 6 goals. Maybe take BTTS because it's plus 140 and that's kind of fun, but I would stay away from that game mostly here.
All right. Love that analysis. Larry, go ahead.
I got a question for Tim. I mean, do you not think the Milwaukee Bucks, after what we've seen the last month or so, deserve to be talked about as a major threat in the East? Because to me, they look like a different team.
That was an amazing win, and Giannis goes hard in the All-Star games. And I think in one-game formats, he's really tough. Could he win you a game in any series? Absolutely. That's what he was able to do. But, our memories are so short, Larry. They were life and death, Milwaukee, at home to beat Orlando. They were down 3 in the last minute of the game, and Orlando didn't have Franz Wagner. They didn't have Paulo Banchero. And Lillard had to hit a really tough step back going left to tie the game, or else they would have lost at home to the Magic, who, were not at full strength. So, yeah, I think Giannis can win you multiple games in a series, but that's the difference in the playoffs. You got to win 4, and I just don't think he has enough help around him to win multiple series to win a championship.
Fair enough. I think that's a good answer. I don't see Milwaukee, especially defensively. I don't see them doing it against teams like the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference.
I played against Brook Lopez, Sia. Almost had a triple-double in that game at Stanford. Really? But we lost, Buckets, but doesn't matter. We covered. We were getting double digits at Stanford. I know that because I was we lost by a couple of points, and I know we were getting 8, 8.5. Sure.
That's actually really impressive. I'm sorry to say actually, some of your other stuff isn't impressive, but that is really impressive. I got to admit, all the college basketball stuff is. All right, Rick Funcannon has a moneyline parlay if you're interested in the chat. Big Cheesy, big Sacramento Kings fan. He says, light the beam, Kings minus 4.5. We've got a lot more coming to you, especially on Early Edge Prime Time for that NFL game. So keep that in mind. Let's go to the recap screen. Before we get out of here, I'm on Gus Edwards. This is from yesterday. Gus Edwards' longest rush under 10.5 yards at minus 118, and the Chargers' first quarter money line at minus 128 qualifier. I did only put a half a unit on that. You can do whatever you want with it, though. Buckets, help me out here. What are your 2 plays?
I think you have to get the first one by yourself.
Yes, Sia. Inter Milan team total over 2.5 at plus 125. I nailed it.
There you go. And I'll take Circle Brugge taking on Besiktas here over 2.5 at minus 135.
I would have definitely screwed that up. Tim Doyle, Rockets. That's easy. -8.5 and OKC to win the NBA Finals at +400. Larry Hartstein, Javonte Williams over 13.5 receiving yards at -113. KC3 says, smash the like. Always when you get in here, first thing, smash the like, but more importantly, participate in the chat. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you are a SportsLine subscriber so you can get all our picks, get in our Discord. I'll be in there tonight at 8:30 for at least 30 minutes answering any questions you have, whether they're football, live bet related, or not. On behalf of Jake the Snake on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s, Tim Doyle, Larry Hartstein, Buckets, and of course, myself, Sia Nejad, Counselor of Cash. This is The Early Edge. We'll see you soon on the SportsLine YouTube channel. We rest our case.